Find the coordinates of the missing endpoint if P is the midpoint of NQ. Q is at 3, 9, and P is at negative 1, 5. We're going to start with our midpoint formula, which is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2, and y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. Now remember, this is two problems, so I'm going to have to do these separately. I'm going to have to do my x's separately from my y's. So we'll start with the x's. First thing I want to do is identify what I have. Here Q is an endpoint and P is a midpoint. So this is actually x sub 1, and then 1 is the negative 1 is the x-coordinate for our midpoint. So I can substitute the 3 in for the x sub 1, and what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find x sub 2. So let's do that. X sub 1 is 3 plus x sub 2 divided by 2. Now that should be our midpoint, which is negative 1. So that sets up an equation, and I need to solve it for x sub 2. I should start by getting rid of this fraction. I know you guys love fractions. Well, let's talk about how to get rid of that. A fraction bar is simply division. So I have 3 plus x sub 2 divided by 2. Well, what's the opposite of dividing by 2? The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So to get rid of divided by 2, what I need to do is multiply both sides by 2. And that will eliminate that, leaving me with just 3 plus x sub 2. And now on the right side, I have negative 1 times 2, which is negative 2. Now keep in mind, sub 2 just means it's the x-coordinate from the second point. This 2, this sub 2 here, is not actually, it's not an exponent. Exponents would be at the top of the number. This is at the bottom. It's just saying this is the x-coordinate from the second point. So we need to get rid of this 3, because I want x sub 2 all by itself. So to get rid of the 3 is being added. To get rid of it, I subtract it. That's going to get rid of that and leave me with just x sub 2. And then negative 2 minus 3. So if I start at negative 2 and then subtract 3 more, think about that on a number line. Negative 2 minus 3, moving to the left on the number line, would put me at negative 5. So the x-coordinate of the other endpoint is negative 5. Now I need to do the same thing with the y-coordinates. Y sub 1 is 9. So here, 9 plus y sub 2 divided by 2 should equal, in this case, our y for our midpoint is 5. So I go through the same process. I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. That'll get rid of the 2, leaving me with just 9 plus y sub 2 equals, in this case, 10. Now I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. That's going to eliminate the 9 and leave me with just y sub 2 equals 10 minus 9 is 1. So the y-coordinate of my other endpoint is 1. So my coordinates for my endpoint are negative 5, comma 1. Now when you're giving an answer to a midpoint question, or you're giving coordinates of another endpoint, make sure you put in your parentheses, and then you have two numbers separated by a comma. Let's try and see what this looks like on a graph. These are the same points, but I already have them graphed. Again, Q is an endpoint, and P is a midpoint. Now remember, midpoint means halfway. So that means P is halfway between Q and some other number. Now actually, using a graph, this is pretty easy. I can just count, again, making a right triangle vertically and horizontally, and just do that twice, and then figure that out. If I go from Q, I go down 4, and over 5. And if I do the same thing, so I went down 4 and over 4, sorry. If I go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll put me at my other endpoint. So there's the red line there is my missing portion of the line. And the coordinate here of this point is 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5, 1. Which is the exact same answer I got using algebra.